Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. Lionhay Zaba reports that Russian President Vladimir Putin stated, "There is reason to believe the conflict between Russia and Ukraine is nearing its conclusion, based on the current situation on the battlefield of the special military operation." However, he clarified that, with ongoing hostilities, it is impossible to set a precise timeline for the end of the conflict. Putin also mentioned that Russia's strikes on the Kyiv region were a response to Ukrainian forces attacking the Luhansk region, and that Russian troops are launching offensives along the entire front line of the special military operation. Furthermore, Putin dismissed remarks by European politicians about preparing for war with Russia as nonsense, asserting that Russia has never threatened European nations and does not do so now. He emphasized that any locations posing a direct military threat to Russia would be considered legitimate targets. These comments were made during a press conference on May 29th, following his state visit to Kazakhstan. According to GG Press, U.S. Defense Secretary Hegseth delivered a speech at the Asia Security Conference, also known as the Shangri-La Dialogue, in Singapore on May 30, expressing legitimate concern over China's historic military buildup and the expansion of its military activities, both regionally and internationally. However, he also emphasized that the U.S. does not desire unnecessary confrontation, and his remarks regarding China were cautious, including avoiding direct mention of Taiwan. Secretary Hegseth underscored the U.S. position as a Pacific nation, reiterating the importance of the Indo-Pacific region. He explained that the U.S. seeks a balance of power, where no country, including China, can impose its hegemony or threaten the security and prosperity of the United States and its allies, thereby aiming to curb China's increasingly assertive actions. On the other hand, he noted that U.S.-China relations were good under the Trump administration, an unprecedented state for a long time. He also mentioned his attendance at the U.S.-China summit in Beijing earlier this month, praising it as a historic meeting. These statements appear to reflect President Trump's desire for trade agreements and stable economic relations with China. According to the Canadian press, senior European intelligence officials reveal that Russian intelligence agencies are escalating their efforts to acquire Western technology and defense secrets. This aggressive drive is a direct response to the severe impact of international sanctions on Russia's wartime economy. Russian agents are employing various tactics, including establishing fake companies, recruiting intermediaries, and deploying sophisticated cyber espionage and hacking operations. Their targets range from high-end defense research, such as Sweden's Gripen fighter jet technology, to civilian-developed camera and laser technologies that can be integrated into military systems. Finland's intelligence director noted Russian interest in space, quantum, Arctic, and marine technologies. The UK's GCHQ director also accused Russia of relentlessly targeting allies, engaging in technical theft and sabotage. Officials observed that Russia is taking greater risks and showing less concern for attribution, as evidenced by a recent cyber attack on a Swedish power plant. These tactics highlight Russia's mounting economic challenges, with a significant portion of its GDP dedicated to the war in Ukraine, contributing to a budget deficit and inflation, despite a temporary boost from oil prices. Intelligence reports suggest a gloomier outlook among Russian officials, though Finnish officials believe President Putin is aware of the economic challenges, but unlikely to pursue immediate political change. According to Antara, Indonesia and France have finalized 4 commercial deals totaling 3.5 billion aners, encompassing energy security, trade, and defense cooperation. Indonesia's investment and downstreaming minister, Rosan Roslani, confirmed these agreements, highlighting the growing confidence of the French business community in Indonesia as a strategic partner. The pacts emerged from high-level meetings between Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto and French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris on Thursday. A significant development was the establishment of the France-Indonesia High-Level Business Council, co-led by Kadin Chair Anindya Bakri and Danone CEO Antoine de Saint-Affrique. This council, comprising 30 business leaders, aims to serve as a dialogue platform to drive strategic cooperation, focusing on investment and trade. It is also expected to facilitate the realization of over 11 billion dollars in previous investment commitments and work towards tripling bilateral trade by 2035. NBC News reports that Israeli troops pushed deeper into southern Lebanon, entering the village of Dibine early Friday, amid ongoing Israeli airstrikes that killed at least 6 people in various villages. Concurrently, Lebanese and Israeli military officials held their first direct military talks in decades at the Pentagon in Washington. The Pentagon described these discussions as productive, focusing on creating practical frameworks for regional security and stability, with outcomes expected to inform political negotiations next week. However, the talks are complicated by Hezbollah, Israel's primary target, which is not participating and has refused to accept any results. A nominal ceasefire has been in effect since April 17th, and the Lebanese delegation aims to make it comprehensive, also seeking to reactivate a U.S.-brokered monitoring committee from a late 2024 war. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed his forces had crossed the strategic Litani River, advancing to controlling positions and dealing Hezbollah a crushing blow in Beirut and the Bekaa Valley. This latest Israel-Hezbollah war, which began on March 2, has resulted in 3,200 deaths in Lebanon and displaced over 1 million people. Separately, U.S. and Iranian negotiators reached a tentative agreement to extend a broader 3-month-old ceasefire by 60 days and start nuclear program talks, though Iran has not confirmed the deal, and U.S. presidential approval is uncertain. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.